Hey, David, why are you still wearing your PPE?
Because we're in the middle of a pandemic. Where's your mask?
David, we're recording this on Zoom all the way from home, so can you just take off your PPE? We have an audience right in front of us.
Are you sure?
Yeah, David, I'm at my
Sweet.
house.
Well, sorry about that, but it is nice to breathe. And I guess, welcome to everyone. This is our class production of King Henry IV, Part 1.
Also known as the most boring Shakespeare play of all time.
Hey, the professors aren't going to be watching this, right?
I think they are. Sorry, Daryl. I didn't mean it in that way. I mean, it is the best Shakespeare play I have ever in my life. Maybe even better than Hamlet.
I completely 100% agree. I mean, it's not like the play terribly pretentious, and the professors had to spend all of their time this semester convincing us how brilliant she is.
Yeah, I mean, at least we didn't read Romeo and Juliet.
How dare you besmirch Leo like that? That's blasphemy.
Hey, David, I'm just speaking my truth, okay? Hey, Professor Mead, I have a question. Um, why does this play portray men being so overdramatic and butthurt over the most simplest things in life?
I think I can actually answer that. I think art tends to mirror real life.
Really? Really? Name someone who is this over dramatic.
I mean, you did meet our professors, right?
Yeah. You're right.
Anywho, let's get back on task, get back to business.
To defeat the Huns, did they send
Kaylin.
What?
I mean, not now. You can do your Disney sing-along when we're done here.
Oh, fine. Continue, David. Continue.
Thank you. We begin the play and this scene with King Henry, a long dramatic speech.
To be or not to be? That is the question, David.
Kaylin.
Whether 'tis... What? He begins the play with a big speech.
Kaylin.
Fine. Resume, David. Resume.
Thank you. In this scene, we see the king struggle. He struggles
with an identity crisis and why he's being such a crappy king. He's being such a crappy father to Hal.
You are impossible.
It can keep on going on.
You're somewhat correct, though. He is the usurper.
Thank you.
And he still wants to act like the good guy.
Yeah, but we all know that he's just butthurt that his son doesn't want a place in the palace. I mean, come on, let him breathe. Just accept the fact that his son wants to be himself. Come on, like Prince Harry. He left the palace.
See, art tends to mirror real life.
Yeah, but we don't think of Charles as Hotspur, do we? I mean, we all know he killed Diana. Watched the new season of The Crown like 3 times just to make sure that I knew.
Yeah, I think that's a different play.
Last time I checked, they're all related. Family shapes the way their kids think, so...
And before we go down that royal rabbit hole, can we finish introducing the scene?
Right. Okay. Carry on, David, carry on.
I don't even know what I was going to say anymore.
Yeah, me too. I think we're through it. Anyways, enjoy the play, everybody.
So shaken as we are, so wan with care, Find me a time for frighted peace to pant and breathe short-winded accents of new broils to be commenced in strands of far remote. No more the thirsty entrance of this soil shall daub her lips with her own children's blood. The edge of war, like an ill-sheathed knife, no more shall cut his master. Here's a dear, a true industrious friend, Sir Walter Blunt, new lighted from his horse, and he hath brought us smooth and welcome news. The Earl of Douglas is discomfited. Of prisoners Hotspur took, Mordache Earl of Fife, and eldest son to Beaton Douglas, and the Earl of Athol, of Murray, Angus, and Menteith. And is not this an honorable spoil, a gallant prize? Ha, cousin, is it not?
In faith, it is a conquest for a prince to boast of.
Yea, there thou makes me sad, and makes me sin and envy, that my Lord Northumberland should be the father to so blessed a son. Whilst I, by looking on the praise of him, see riot and dishonor stain the brow of my young Harry. What think you, coz, of this young Percy's pride? The prisoners which he in this adventure hath surprised to his own use he keeps, and sends us word I shall have none but Mordache, Earl of Fife.
This is his uncle's teaching.
But I have sent for him to answer this, so inform the lords.
I will, my liege.
You got any more tequila?
Oh yeah, let me check the tab real quick. Looks like you don't have any more money in your account, actually.
What? I really need some tequila right now. I only drank like 20 bottles.
Well, imagine if a prince tried to rob.
That would be crazy. All right, my name's Brandon.
And I'm Maddie.
And we're opening for Scene 1, Act 2. So we're getting introduced to the king's son, Prince Hal, and all of his faithful companions, which are very bad influences. First, you got his right side man, Falstaff, who's like this old dude, and he's sort of like a mentor to Hal, but he's a very, very bad mentor. And then all the other hooligans like Poins.
And what they're trying to achieve in this scene is basically portray how Prince Hal is influenced by Poins and Falstaff as they try and force him to steal with them.
And the importance of the scene is, of course, to show how Hal's in the wrong crowd right now, how he's being influenced so greatly by these bad friends, and how they, like, a prince shouldn't be go out and be stealing from people. He should be with his dad, trying to live up to his expectations. But another important message is that Hal is trying to hide from his dad right now, and he wants to prove himself later on. So that's also a key point in this play. All right, now sit back and enjoy the scene, guys.
Now, Hal, what time of day is it, lad?
What a devil hast thou to do with the time of the day? Unless hours were cups of sack and minutes capon, I see no reason why thou shouldst be so superfluous to demand the time of the day.
Marry then, sweet wag. When thou art king, let not us that are squires of the night's body be called thieves of the day's beauty. Let us be Diana's foresters, gentlemen of the shade, minions of the moon, and let men say we be men of good government, being governed, as the sea is, by our noble and chaste mistress the moon, under whose continence we steal. But I prithee thee, sweet wag, shall there be gallows standing in England when thou art king? Do not thou, when thou art king, hang a thief?
No, thou shalt.
Shall I? Oh, rare. By the Lord, I'll be a brave judge.
Thou judgest false already. I mean, thou shalt have the hanging of the thieves, and so become a rare hangman.
I would to God thou, and I knew where a commodity of good names were to be bought. An old lord of the council rated me the other day in the street about you, sir, but I marked him not. And yet he talked very wisely, but I regarded him not. And yet he talked wisely, and in the street too.
Thou didst well, for wisdom cries out in the street, and no man regards it.
Oh, thou hast damnable iteration, and art indeed a saint. Thou hast done much harm upon me, Hal. God forgive thee for it. Before I knew thee, Hal, I knew nothing. And now I am, if a man should speak truly, a little better than one of the wicked. I must give over this life, and I will give it over. By the Lord, and I do not. I am a villain. I'll be damned for never a king's son in Christendom.
Where shall we take a purse tomorrow, Jack?
Zounds, where thou wilt, lad, I'll make one. And I do not call me a villain and baffle me.
I see a good amendment of life in thee, from praying to purse taking.
Why, Hal, 'tis my vocation, Hal. 'Tis no sin for a man to labor in his vocation. Coins! Now shall we know if Gladshall have set a match?
Good morrow, Ned.
Good morrow, sweet Hal. What says Monsieur Remorse? What says Sir John Sack and Sugar? Jack, how agrees the devil in thee about thy soul that thou soldest him on Good Friday? Thus for a cup of Madeira and a cold captain's leg?
Sir John stands to his word. The devil shall have his bargain, for he was never yet a breaker of proverbs. He will give the devil his due.
Then art thou damned for keeping thy word with the devil?
Else he had been damned for cozening the devil.
But, my lads, tomorrow morning, by 4 o'clock early at Gad's Hill, there are pilgrims going to Canterbury with rich offerings, and traders riding to London with fat purses. I have visits for you all. You have horses for yourselves. If you will go, I'll stuff your purses full of crowns. If you will not, tarry at home and be hanged.
Hal, wilt thou make one?
Who? I, Rob? I, a thief? Not I, by my faith.
There's neither honesty, manhood, nor good fellowship in thee, nor thou canst not of blood royal, if thou darest not stand for 10 shillings.
Well, then, once in my days, I'll be a madcap.
Sir John, I prithee, leave the prince and me alone. I'll lay him down such reasons for this adventure that he shall go.
Well, God give thee the spirit of persuasion, and him the ears of profiting, that what thou speakest may move, and what he hears may be believed, that the true prince may, for recreation's sake, prove a false thief. Farewell.
Farewell, thou latter spring. Farewell, all hallowed summer.
Now, my good, sweet honey lord, ride with us tomorrow. I have a jest to execute that I cannot manage alone. Falstaff, Peto, Bardolph, and Gadshill shall rob those men that we have already waylaid. Yourself and I will not be there. And when they have the booty, if you and I do not rob them, cut this head off from my shoulders.
How shall we part from them in setting forth?
Why, we will set forth before or after them, and appoint them a place of meeting, wherein it is at our pleasure to fail, and then will they adventure upon the themselves, which they shall have no sooner achieved, but will set upon them.
Yea, but 'tis like that they will know us by our horses, by our habits, and by every other appointment to be ourselves.
Tut, our horses they shall not see. I'll tie them in the wood. Our visitors we will change after we leave them. And Sarah, I have cases of buckram for the knots, to unmask our noted outward garments.
Yea, but I doubt they will be too hard for us.
Well, for 2 of them, I know them to be as true-bred cowards as ever turned back. And for the 3rd, if he fight longer than he sees reason, I'll forswear arms. The virtue of this jest will be the incomprehensible lies that the same fat rogue will tell us when we meet at supper. How 30 at least he fought with, what wars, what blows, what extremities he endured, and in the reproof of this lives the jest.
Well, I'll go with thee.
Farewell, my lord.
I know you all and will a while uphold the unyoked tumor of your idleness. Yet herein will I imitate the sun, who doth permit the base contagious clouds to smother up his beauty from the world, that when he please again to be himself, being wanted, he may be more wondered at. If all the year were plain holidays, to sport would be as tedious as to work, but when they seldom come, they wished for come. So when this loose behavior I throw off, and pay the debt I never promised, by how much better than my word I am, by so much shall I falsify men's hopes. And like bright metal on a sullen ground, my reformation, glittering o'er my fault, shall sow more goodly and attract more eyes than that which hath no foil to set it off. Also offend to make offense a skill, redeeming time when men think at least I will.
Hi guys, welcome back to King Henry IV News. My name is Kylene, and today we have two special guests, Rain and Jose. Rain, can you please tell me who are the characters in this scene?
Yeah, so in this upcoming scene, we have Prince Hal, who's King Henry's son, and it sounds like he's been hanging around some really low-life friends.
Oh, you mean Points and Falstaff? Yeah, dude, they're known for being bad influence here in the village. And you know, in a village like this, it's pretty small and word gets around pretty fast. Just be on the lookout for them. Back to you, Kai.
Thank you guys. Well, Rain, can you please tell me what are we going to be looking at in the first part of this scene?
Yeah, so in this first part, there might be a robbery, and it's probably going to happen at Gad's Hill. So if I was a traveler, don't go anywhere near there. And it sounds like the mastermind behind all this is Points.
Honestly, not surprised. I even heard that Falstaff immediately agreed to the plan. But Jose, can you please tell me what are we going to be looking at in the second part of this scene?
Kai, you won't believe what I just saw. I oversaw a conversation between Prince Hal and Points about how they are planning against the other robbers and Falstaff himself. They want to rob them after they are done stealing from the rich just to get a quick laugh. Isn't that crazy? Back to you, Kai.
Honestly, that is really crazy. That's all the time we have for today. But thank you guys all for viewing. Now back to the play.
My blood hath been too cold and temperate, unapt to stir at these indignities. And you have found me, for accordingly you tread upon my patience. But be sure I will from henceforth rather be myself, mighty and to be feared, than my condition, which hath been smooth as oil, soft as young down, and therefore lost that title of respect, which the proud soul never pays but to the proud.
Our house, my sovereign liege, little deserves the scourge of greatness to be used on it, and that same greatness to which our own hands have halt to make so portly.
My lord.
For sure, get thee gone, for I do see danger and disobedience in thine eye. You have good leave to leave us. When we need your use in counsel, we shall send for you. You were about to speak?
Ye, my good lord, those prisoners in your highness's name demanded, which Harry Percy here at Holdham took, where, as he says, not with such strength denied, as is delivered to your majesty.
My liege, I did deny no prisoners. But I remember when the fight was done, there came a certain lord, neat and trimly dressed. He questioned me, among the rest demanded my prisoners in your majesty's behalf. Then I, all smarting with my wounds being cold, to be so pestered with a popinjay, out of my grief and my impatience, answered neglectingly, I know not what. This bald, unjointed chat of his, my lord, I answered indirectly, as I said, and I beseech you, let not his report come current for accusation betwixt my love and your high majesty.
The circumstance considered good, my lord, whatever Lord Harry Percy then had said, to such a person and in such a place, at such a time all the rest retold, may reasonably die and never rise, to do him wrong or any way impeach. What then he said, so he unsay it now.
Why yet he doth deny his prisoners, but with proviso and exception, that we at our own charge shall ransom straight his brother-in-law, the foolish Mortimer, who on my soul hath wilfully betrayed the lives of those he did lead to fight against that great magician, damned Glendower, whose daughter, as we hear, that Earl of March hath lately married. Shall our coffers then be empty to redeem a traitor home? No, I shall never hold that man my friend, whose tongue shall ask me for 1 penny cost to ransom home revolted Mortimer.
Revolted Mortimer? He never did fall off. my sovereign liege, but by chance of war. Then let not him be slandered with revolt.
Thou dost belie him, Percy. Thou dost belie him. Let me not hear you speak of Mortimer. Send me your prisoners with the speediest means, or you shall hear in such a kind from me as will displease you. My lord Northumberland, we license your departure with your son. Send us your prisoners, or you will hear of it.
And if the devil come to roar for them, I will not send them.
Stay in Ponsonby. Here comes your uncle.
He will forsooth have all my prisoners. And when I urged the ransom one again of my wife's brother, then his cheek looked pale, and on my face he turned the eye of death, trembling even at the name of Mortimer.
I cannot believe, was not he proclaimed by Richard that dead is the next of blood?
He did. Myself did hear it.
Nay then, I cannot blame his cousin king. But shall it be that you that set the crown upon the head of this forgetful man, the men of your nobility and power, put down Richard, that sweet lovely rose, and plant this thorn, this canker, Bolingbroke? And shall it be in more shame and further spoken that you are fooled, discarded, and shook off by him for whom these shames you underwent? Therefore I
Please,
say
cousin,
that
say no more. Already matter deep and dangerous, as full of pearl and adventurous spirit, as to o'erwalk a current roaring loud on the unsteadfast footing of a spear.
send danger from east unto the west, so on across it from north to south, and let them grapple. Oh, the blood stirs more to rouse a lion than to start a hare.
Imagination of some great exploit drives him beyond the bounds of patience.
By heaven, methinks it were an easy leap to pluck the bright honor from the pale-faced moon, or dive into the bottom of the deep, where fathom line could never touch the ground, and pluck up drowned honor by the locks, so that he doth redeem her thence might wear without corrival all her dignities.
He apprehends figures here, but not the form of what he should attend. Good cousin, give me audience for a while.
I cry you mercy.
Same noble Scots that are your prisoners?
I'll keep them all. By God, he shall not have a Scot of them.
You start away and lend no ear until my purposes. Those prisoners you shall keep.
Nay, I will, and that's flat.
Hear you, cousin, word.
And that same sword and buckler Prince of Wales. But I think his father loves him not, and would be glad he met with some mischance. I would have him poisoned with a pot of ale.
Farewell. I'll talk to you for better temper to attend.
Why, what a wasp stung and impatient fool! Time thine ear to no tongue but thine own.
What a candy deal of courtesy! This fawning greyhound then did proffer me. Look, when his infant fortune came to age, and gentle Harry Percy, and kind cousin. Oh, the devil take such cozeners! God forgive me, good uncle, tell your tale, I have done.
Nay, if you have not, to it again, we will stay your leisure.
I have done, I faith.
Then once more to your Scottish prisoners, deliver them up without their ransom straight, and make the Douglas son your only mean for powers in Scotland.
I smell it. Upon my life, I will do it well.
Before the game is afoot, thou still let slip.
Why, it cannot choose but be a noble plot. And then the power of Scotland and of York to join Mortimer, huh?
And so they,
In faith, it is exceedingly well aimed.
and 'tis no little reason bids us speed to save our heads by raising of a head, forbear ourselves as even as we can. The king will always stink in our debt, and we think ourselves unsatisfied, till he hath found the time to pay us home. And see already how doth begin to make us strangers to his looks of love.
He does, he does. We'll be revenged on him.
When the time is ripe, which will be suddenly, I'll steal to Glendower and Lord Mortimer, where you and Douglas and our powers at once shall happily meet to bear our fortunes in our own strong arm.
Farewell, good brother. We shall thrive, I trust.
Uncle, adieu. Oh, let the hours be short till the fields and blows and groans applaud our sport.
Girl.
What's up?
Oh my gosh, I have so much to tell you. So remember how we met that Gads Hill guy at the tavern last night?
What does he look like?
He had the short brown hair with the weird hat and the curly mustache.
Yeah, I remember.
Okay, so when you went to the bathroom, he came up to our table and he asked me to go to breakfast with him this morning. And so I was like, why not, you know? And so we were at the tavern this morning, right? And he ordered me tea. And then like these weird biscuit, they call them crumpet things. And I was like, okay, why not? And so we were sitting there and he just started spilling everything about his life. And so I sat there and I was like, boy, I don't even know who you are, but we're just going to go with it, right? So then he tells me that he's planning a robbery tonight at the same tavern that we were at. I know. So I'm just telling me that. I don't even know why, like how it came up. And so I was sitting there and I was like, oh, okay, like cool, you know? And so he told me that it's happening at like 8:00 tonight. And so I was thinking, I don't want to be there because like I don't want to catch a felony case. Like I have school, you know, we don't need that. And so I was thinking that we should meet up and stake it out tonight and see what happens and how it goes down. Would you be down?
What time though?
So he said about 8. So I think that we should meet up at like 7:30 by that big willow tree that's in front of the tavern.
Okay.
Would you be down?
Yeah, but what are we gonna wear?
I'm thinking like all black, so then we like blend in and like they can't see us. And obviously we have to wear masks and everything like that. So I'm thinking meet up about like 7:30 or at the willow tree and just see what happens. And I mean, why not, right?
We're gonna be the first ones to see it.
Exactly. And obviously we have to put it on Snapchat and record it. Duh.
Right.
Okay, so would you be down though? Meet up at 7:30 by the willow tree?
Of course.
Yes, I'm so excited. Okay, so I'll text you when I get there and everything. But yeah, just keep your phone on and I'll see you in a little bit.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
I think this be the most villainous house in all of London, Milford, please. I'm stuck like a tent.
Like a tent! By the mass, the king Christian could be better bits than I have been since the first come.
Why? To allow us near Jordan, then we link in your chimney and your chamber library space like a loaf.
Good morrow, carriers. What o'clock?
I think it's 2 o'clock, sire.
Sirrah, carrier, what time do you need to arrive in London?
I have to go to bed with a candle, I warrant thee. We'll call up the gentlemen. They will come along with company, for they have great charge.
What ho, Chamberlain!
Good morrow, Master Gadshill. It holds current that I told you yesterday. There's a Franklin in the Wild of Kent hath brought 300 marks of him in gold. I heard him tell to one of his company last night during supper, a kind of auditor, one that hath abundance of charge too, God knows what. They are up already and call for eggs and butter. They shall away presently.
Sirrah, if they meet not with St. Nicholas clerks, I'll give thee this neck.
No, I'll none of it. Keep that for the hangman, for I know thou worshipest St. Nicholas as much as a falsehood man may.
What talkest thou of the hangman? If I hang, I'll make a fat pair of gallows, for if I hang, old Sir John hangs with me, and thou knowest he is not starving.
Nay.
Give me thy hand, thou shalt have a share in our purchase, as I am a true man.
Nay, rather let me have it as you are a false thief.
Go to.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Holy crap. That was such an adrenaline rush. I thought we were going to get caught the whole time.
No.
Jeez. Well, did you take anything?
No, I was too scared to.
Why?
Because we were this close to getting caught.
I know. But if I tell you something, you can't tell anyone, okay?
What?
I kind of took a bag.
Why would you do that?
Because just look how much is in there. There's so much in there. There's probably about over 100 grand in there.
We're gonna get caught.
We're not gonna get caught because no one's gonna say anything. No one saw us.
Yeah, but if we do, you know what happens.
I know. Are you gonna say anything though?
I feel like I should.
But don't, because then you're gonna get in trouble too.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just feel like we're gonna get caught either way, so might as well just tell the truth now.
Yeah, you're right. How about I make you a deal, okay? I will give you half of what's in here, and it'll pay for at least a semester of school. How about that?
Seems tempting, but I don't know.
Come on, Betsy. You know you want it.
How much is in there?
So probably, I'd say a little over 100 grand. So it'd probably pay for a semester at least.
I do have a lot of loans taken out.
Exactly.
Fine. I won't say anything.
Thank you. Gosh, I was scared there for a second. I thought you were going to tell on me.
I would never do that.
You just said you would.
I know, but I just wanted to get money.
Yeah, you're right. Oh, shoot, my mom's coming. I got to hide the money. I'll talk to you tomorrow at school, okay?
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
Come, shelter, shelter. I have removed Falstaff's horse, and he frets like a gummed velvet.
Stand close.
Poins! Poins and be hanged! Poins!
Geese, you fat-kidneyed rascal. What a brawling dost thou keep?
Where's Poins, Hal?
He has walked up to the top of the hill. I'll go seek him.
I am accursed to rob in that thief's company. The rascal hath removed my horse and tied him I know not where. If I travel but 4 foot by the square further afoot, I shall break my wind. 8 yards of uneven ground is 70 miles afoot with me, and the stony-hearted villains know it well enough. A plague upon it, thieves cannot be true to one another. A plague upon you all. Give me my horse, you rogues. Give me my horse and be hanged.
Geese, you fat guts. Lie down, lay thine ear close to the ground, and list if thou canst hear the tread of travelers.
Have you any levers to lift me up again, being down? Splud, I'll not bear my own flesh so far afoot again for all the coin in thy father's exchequer. I prithee, good Prince Hal, help me to my horse, good king's son.
Out, you rogue, shall I be your ostler?
Hang thyself in thine own heir apparent garters. If I be ta'en, I'll peach for this. And I have not ballads made on all of you and sung into filthy tunes. Cup of sack be my poison, and a foot too. I hate it.
Stand.
I do so against my will.
Oh, 'tis our setter. I know his voice.
What news? Case you, on with your visits. 'Tis money of the king's coming down the hill. 'Tis going to the king's exchequer.
You lie, you rogue. 'Tis going to the king's tavern.
Sirs, you four shall front them in the narrow lane. Ned, Poins, and I will walk lower. If they escape from your encounter, then they light on us.
How many be there of them? Some 8 or 10.
Zounds, will they not rob us?
What a coward, Sir John Punch.
Indeed, I am not John Gaunt, your grandfather, but yet no coward, Hal.
Well, we leave that to the proof.
Sirrah Jack, thy horse stands behind the hedge. When thou needst him, there thou shalt find him.
Dad, where are our disguises?
Here, hard by. Stand close.
Now, my masters, happy man to his dole, I say. Every man to his business.
Come, neighbors. The boys shall take our horses and send them down the hill. We'll walk afoot a while and ease our legs.
Shut the villains! Oh, you caterpillars! You bacon-fed knaves! They hate us, youth! Down with them! Fleece them! Hang, you gore-belly knaves! Are you undone? No, you fat cuffs! I would your store were here on bacon's on! What, you knaves? Young men must live! Are you grand jurors, are you? Old jury, you, faith!
Thieves have bound the true men. Now could thou and I rob the thieves and go merrily to London. It would be an argument for a week, laughter for a month, and a good jest forever.
Stand close. I hear him coming.
Come, my masters, let us share, and then to horse before day. And the prince and Poins be not two errant cowards. There's no equity stirring. There's no more valor in that Poins than in a wild duck.
Your money!
Villains!
Got with much ease, now merrily to horse. The thieves are all scattered and possessed with fear, so strongly that they dare not meet each other. Each takes his fellow for an officer. Away, good Ned. Falstaff sweats to death, and the lards lean the earth as he walks along. Were it not for laughing, I should pity him.
How the fat rogue roared.
Why are we even here?
You don't remember? We have to introduce the scene.
Oh. What is it about?
Well, it's about a marriage dispute between Lady Percy and Hotspur.
Hotspur's kind of hot-headed. That might get messy soon.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. What about his husband?
His husband?
Yeah, the one with the beard.
That's a woman. That's Lady Percy, Encino the lady.
Oh.
Yeah.
What are they even fighting about?
Well, think of it like a 15-year-old teenage boy, okay? And his girlfriend. He thinks that video games are more important. And he's changing, coming adult and not paying attention to his girlfriend at all, except, marriage for him. Yeah.
Oh. So do you think he's just not interested because of the beard?
The beard? You really can't get over the beard?
No, I cannot.
Well, I don't think that's correct. Can you even get over that?
No.
Well, you better figure it out because the scene's about to start.
But for mine own part, my lord, I could be well contented to be there, in respect of the love I bear your house. He could be contented. Then why is he not? In respect of the love he bears our house, he shows this he loves his own barn better than he loves our house. What a frosty-spirited rogue this is. What a pagan rascal this is. An infidel. Oh, I could divide myself and go to buffets for moving such a dish of skim milk with so honorable an action. Hang him. Let him tell the king. We are prepared. I will set forward tonight. How now, Kate? I must leave you within these 2 hours.
Oh my goodness. Why are thou alone? Why dost thou fix thine eyes upon the earth and start so often when thou sits alone? In thy faint slumbers I by thee have watched and heard thee murmur tales of iron wars, speak terms of manage to thy bounding steed, cry courage to the field, and thou hast talked of sallies and retires, of trenches, tents, of palisadoes, frontiers, parapets, of basilisks, of cannon, culverin, of prisoners' ransom, and of soldiers slain, and all the currents of a heady fight. Oh, what portents are these? Some heavy business hath my lord in hand, and I must know it, else he loves me not.
What ho! Is Gilliam's with the packet gone?
He is, my lord, an hour ago.
Hath Butler brought those horses from the sheriff?
One horse, my lord, he brought even now.
What horse? A roan, a crop ear, is it not?
It is, my lord.
That roan shall be my throne. Well, I will back him straight. O Esperance, bid Butler lead him forth into the park.
But hear you, my
What sayest thou, my lady?
what is it carried?
Why, my horse, my love, my horse.
Out, mad-headed ape. A weasel hath not such a deal of spleen as you are tossed with. In faith, I'll know your business, Harry. That I will. I fear my brother Mortimer does stir about his title, and has sent for you to line his enterprise. But if you go...
So far afoot I shall be wary, love.
Come, ye parakeeto.
answer me directly unto this question that I ask. In faith, I'll break thy little finger, Harry, and if thou wilt not tell me all things true.
Away, away, you trifler! Love, I love thee not. I care not for thee, Kate. This is no world to play with mammoths and to tilt with lips. We must have bloody noses and cracked crowns, and pass them current too. God's me, my horse. What sayest thou, Kate? What wouldst thou have with me?
Do you not indeed? Well, do not then, for since you love me not, I will not love myself. Do you not love me? Nay, tell me if you speak in jest or no.
Come, wilt thou see me ride? And when I am a horseback, I will swear I love thee infinitely. I know you wise, but yet no farther wise than Harry Percy's wife, constant you are, but yet a woman. And for secrecy, no lady closer, for I well believe thou wilt not utter what thou dost not know. And so far, I trust thee, gentle Kate.
How? So far.
Not an inch further. But hark you, Kate, whither I go, thither shall you go too. Today I will set forth, tomorrow you. Will this content you, Kate?
It must, of course.
Why, hello there, my friend.
Hello. May I ask, what is that silly outfit you're wearing?
Why, can't you tell? I'm the king, of course.
That is not true. I'm the king.
Harry, why have you forsaken me and chose to be with highwaymen and thieves?
Harry, why do you continue to disappoint me, your father?
Such a disappointment indeed.
You will never be fit to be a king.
I've always loved this part. Now picture this, young Prince Harry drinking away in the tavern, having a conversation with Poins.
When Falstaff and his friends Gadshill, Peto, and Bardolph enter, speaking about their day as the thieves that they are.
The conversation gets heated and there's tension in the air.
When suddenly the tavern hostess informs Harry of a nobleman who was sent by King Henry, his father.
Falstaff and Harry then engage into roleplay, trying to prepare him for his conversation with his father.
Both taking turns pretending to be the king, speaking in ways the king will never speak, mocking him in simpler terms.
Now, give me a cup of sack. I need to make my eyes look red like I've been crying because my son is so bad.
Oh, what must I do for my son to mature and be who he was meant to be? When will this time come?
Let's see for ourselves in this next scene. Cheers.
Cheers.
Ned, prithee, come out of that fat room and lend me thy hand to laugh a little.
Where has been, Hal?
With 3 or 4 loggerheads amongst 3 or 4 score hogsheads, I have sounded the very base string of humility. Sirrah, I am sworn, brother, to a leash of yours and can call them all by their Christian name, as Tom, Dick, and Francis. They take it already upon their salvation that though I be but Prince of Wales, yet I am the king of courtesy. Falstaff and the rest of the thieves at the door, shall we be merry? I am now of all humors, and am not yet of Percy's mind, the Hotspur of the North. He that kills me some 6 or 7 dozen of Scots at a breakfast, washes his hands and says to his wife, "Feed this quiet life, I want work." "Oh, my sweet Harry," she says, how many hast thou killed today?" "So 14 after an hour." A trifle. I prithee, call in Falstaff, and I'll play Percy, and that damned Brawn shall play Dame Mortimer, his wife. Call in Ribs, call in Taro.
Welcome, Jack. Where hast thou been?
A plague of all cowards, I say, and a vengeance too. Marry and amen. Give me a cup of sack, boy, a plague of all cowards. Give me a cup of sack, rogue. Is there no virtue extant?
Didst thou never see a Titan kiss a dish of butter? Pitiful hearted Titan, that melted at the sweet tail of the sun. If thou didst, then behold that compound.
There is nothing but roguery to be found in villainous man. Yet a coward is worse than a cup of sack with lime in it. A villainous coward. Go thy ways, old Jack. Die when thou wilt. If manhood, good manhood, be not forgot upon the face of the earth, then I am a shot in hearing. There lives not 3 good men unhanged in England, and one of them is fat and grows old. God help the while. A bad world, I say. I would I were a weaver. I could sing psalms or anything. A plague of all cowards, I say still.
How now, Woolsack, what mutter you?
A king's son. If I do not beat thee out of thy kingdom with a dagger of lath, and I drive all thy subjects afore thee like a flock of wild geese, I'll never wear hair on my face more. You, Prince of Wales.
Why, you horse and round man, what's the matter?
Are you not a coward? Answer me to that. And Poins there.
Zounds, you fat paunch, and you call me coward? By the Lord, I'll stab thee.
I call thee coward. I'll see thee damned ere I call thee a coward. But I would give £1,000 I could run as fast as thou canst. You are straight enough in the shoulders, you care not who sees your back. Call you that backing of your friends? Plague upon such backing. Give me them that will face me. Give me a cup of sack. I am a rogue if I drunk today.
O villain, thy lips are scarce white, since thou drunkst last.
All is one for that. A plague of all cowards, I say still.
What is the matter?
What's the matter? There be 4 of us here have ta'en £1,000 this morning.
Where is it, Jack? Where is it?
Where is it? Taken from us it is. 100 upon poor 4 of us.
100, man?
If I am a rogue, if I were not half sword with a dozen of them 2 hours together, I have scaped by miracle. I am 8 times thrust through the doublet, 4 through the hose, my buckler cut through and through, my sword hacked like a hacksaw, ecce signum. I never dealt better since I was a man. I would do not. A plague of all cowards. Let them speak. If they speak more or less the truth, they are villains and the sons of darkness.
Speak, sirs. How was it?
We 4 set upon some dozens.
16 at least, my lord.
And bound them.
No, they were not bound.
As we were sharing, some 6 or 7 fresh men set upon us.
And unbound the rest, and then come in the other.
What? Fought you with them all?
All? I know not what you call all. But if I fought not with 50 of them, I am a bunch of radish. If there were not 2 or 3 and 50 upon poor old Jack, then I am a 2-legged creature.
Pray God you have not murdered some of them.
Nay, that's past praying for. I have peppered 2 of them. 2 I am sure I have paid, 2 rogues in buckram suits. I tell thee what, Hal, if I tell thee a lie, spit in my face, call me horse. Thou knowest my old ward. Here I lay, and thus I bore my point. 4 rogues in buckram let drive at me.
What? 4? Thou saidst but 2 even now.
4, Hal. I told thee 4.
Hey, he said 4.
These 4 came all affront and mainly thrust at me. I made me no more ado, but I took all their 7 points in my target thus.
7? Why, there were but 4 even now.
In buckram?
Hey, 4 in buckram suits.
7 by these hilts, or I am a villain else.
Prithee, let him alone. We shall more anon.
Dost thou hear me, Hal?
Aye, and mark thee too, Jack.
Do so, for it is worth listening to. These 9 in buckram that I told thee of,
2 more already.
their points be broken,
Down, feather hose.
began to give me ground, but I followed me close, came in a foot in hand, and with a thought, 7 of the 11 I paid.
Oh, monstrous! 11 buckram men grown out of 2.
But as the devil would have it, 3 misbegotten knaves in Kendall Green came at my beck and let drive at me, for it was so dark, Hal, that thou couldn't see thy hand.
These lies are like their father that begets them. Gross as a mountain, open and palpable. Why, thou clay-brained guts, thou naughty-pated fool, thou whoreson, obese, greasy, tallow cat.
What? Art thou mad? Art thou mad? Is not the truth the truth?
Why, how couldst thou know these men in Kendall Green, when it was so dark thou couldst not see thy hand? Come, tell us your reason. What sayest thou to this?
Your reason, Jack, your reason.
What? Upon compulsion? Zounds! And I were on the Strapato or all the racks of the world, I would not tell you on compulsion. Give you a reason on compulsion? If reasons were as plentiful as blackberries, I would give no man a reason upon compulsion, I.
I'll be no longer guilty of this sin, this sanguine coward, this bed presser, this horseback breaker, this huge hill of flesh.
Blood, you snarveling, you elf skin, you dried neat's tongue, you bull's pizzle, you stockfish. Oh, for breath to utter what is like thee, you tailor's yard, you sheath, you bowcase, you vile standing tuck.
Well, breathe a while, and then to it again. And when thou hast tired thyself in base comparisons, hear me speak but this.
Mark, Jack.
We too saw you 4 set on 4, and bound them, and were masters of their wealth. Mark now how a plain tale shall put you down. Then did we 2 set on you 4, and with a word outfaced you from your prize, and have it, that can show it from here in the house. And Falstaff, you carried your guts away as nimbly, with as quick dexterity, and roared for mercy, and still run and roared, as ever I heard a bull calf. What a slave art thou to hack thy sword, and thou hast done, and then say it was in fight? What trick, what device, what starting hole canst thou now find out to hide thee from this open and apparent shame?
Come, let's hear Jack. What trick hast thou now?
By the Lord, I knew you as well as he that made you. Why, hear you, my masters. Was it for me to kill the heir apparent? Should I turn upon the true prince? Why, thou knowest I am as valiant as Hercules, but beware instinct. The lion will not touch the true prince. Instinct is a great matter. I was now a coward on instinct. I shall think the better of myself and thee during my life. I for a valiant lion, and thou for a true prince. But by the Lord, lads, I am glad you have the money. Hostess, clap to the doors. Watch tonight, pray tomorrow. Galleons, lads, boys, hearts of gold, all the titles of fellowship to come. What, shall we be merry? Shall we have a play extempore?
Content, and the argument shall be thy running away.
Ah, no more of that, Hal. And thou lovest me.
Oh, Jesu, my lord, the prince.
Now, my lady, the hostess, what sayest thou to me?
Marry, my lord, there is a nobleman at the court at the door would speak with you. He says he comes from your father.
Shall I give him his answer?
Prithee do, Jack.
Wait, and I'll send him packing.
Now, sirs, by her lady you fought fair. So did you, Peto. So did you, Bardolph. You are lions too. You ran away upon instinct. You will not touch the true prince. No fi.
Faith, I ran when I saw others run.
Faith, tell me now in earnest, how come Falstaff's sword's so hacked?
Why, he hacked it with his dagger and said he would swear truth out of England, but he would make you believe it was done in fight and persuaded us to do the like.
Yeah, and to tickle our noses with spear grass to make them bleed, and then to beslubber our garments with it, and swear it was the blood of true men. I did that I did not this 7 years before. I blushed to hear his monstrous devices.
Oh, villain, thou stolest a cup of sack 18 years ago, and went taken with the manor. And ever since thou hast blushed extempore. Thou hadst fire and sword on thy side, and yet thou rannest away. What instinct hadst thou for you?
My lord, do you see these meteors? Do you behold these exhalations?
I do.
What think you they portend?
Hot livers and cold purses?
Choler, my lord, if rightly taken.
No, if rightly taken, altar. Here comes Jack. Here comes Barebone. How now, my sweet creature of bombast? How long is it ago, Jack, since thou sawest thine own knee?
My own knee? When I was about thy years, Hal, I was not an eagle's talon in the waist. I could have crept into an alderman's thumb ring. A plague of sighting and grief. It blows a man up like a bladder. There's villainous news abroad. Here was Sir John Bracy from your father. You must go to court in the morning. That same mad fellow of the north, Percy, and he of Wales that made Lucifer cuckold and swore the devil his true liegeman.
Owen Glendower?
Owen the same, and his son-in-law, Mortimer, and old Northumberland, and that sprangly Scot of Scots, Douglas. Well, he is there too, and one Mordake, and 1,000 blue caps more. Worcester is stolen away tonight. Thy father's beard is turned white with the news. But tell me, how, art not thou horribly afeared? Thou being heir apparent, could the world pick thee out of such enemies again as thou fiend Douglas, that spirit Percy, and that devil Glendower? Art thou not horribly afraid? Doth not thy blood thrill at it?
Not a whit, I faith. I lack some of thy instinct.
Well, thou wilt be horribly chid tomorrow when thou comest to thy father. If thou love me, practice an answer.
Do thou stand for my father and examine me upon the particulars of my life?
Shall I? Content. This chair shall be my state. This dagger, my scepter. And this cushion, my crown. Give me a cup of sack to make my eyes look red, that it may be sought that I have wept, for I must speak in passion.
Oh, here is my leg.
And here is my speech. Stand aside, nobility.
Oh, Jesu, this is excellent sport. If faith.
Weep not, sweet queen, for trickling tears are vain.
Oh, the father, how he holds his countenance.
For God's sake, lords, convey my tristful queen, for tears do not stop the floodgates of her eyes.
Oh, Jesu, he doth it as like one of these harlotry players as ever I see.
Peace, good pinpot, peace, good tickle brain. Harry, I do not only marvel where thou spendest thy time, but also how thou art accompanied. For though the chamomile, the more it is trodden on, the faster it grows. So youth, the more it is wasted, the sooner it wears. Thou art my son, I have partly thy mother's word, partly my own opinion, but chiefly a villainous trick of thine eye, and a foolish hanging of thy nether lip that doth warrant me. If then thou be son to me. Here lies the point. Why, being son to me, art thou so pointed at? Shall the son of England prove a thief and take purses? There is a thing, Harry, by the name of pitch. This pitch, as ancient writers do report, doth defile. So doth the company thou keepest. For Harry, now I do not speak to thee in drink, but in tears, not in pleasure, but in passion, not in words only, but in woes also. And yet there is a virtuous man, whom I have often noted in thy company, but I know not his name.
What manner of man, and it like your majesty?
A good portly man, I faith, and a corpulent, of a cheerful look, a pleasing eye, and a most noble carriage. And, as I think, his age some 50, or, by lady, inclining to 80. And now I remember his name. His name is Falstaff. If that man should be lewdly given, he deceiveth me. For Harry, I see virtue in his looks. If then the tree may be known by the fruit, there is virtue in that of Falstaff. Keep with him, the rest banish.
Dost thou speak like a king? Do thou stand for me, and I'll play my father?
Depose me, if thou dost it so half gravely, so majestically, both in word and matter. Hang me up by the heels.
Well, here I am set.
And here I stand. Judge, my masters.
Now, Harry, whence come you?
My noble lord from Eastcheap.
The complaints I hear of thee are grievous.
Splud, my lord, they are false. Nay, I'll tip you for a young prince, I faith.
Swearest thou, ungracious boy? Henceforth ne'er look on me. Thou art violently carried away from grace. There is a devil haunts thee in the likeness of an old fat man. A ton of man is thy companion. Why dost thou converse with that trunk of humors, that boiling hutch of beastliness, that swollen parcel of dropsies, that huge bombard of sack, that stuffed cloak bag of guts, that roasted mining tree ox with the pudding in his belly, that reverend vice, that gray iniquity, that father ruffian in that vanity in years, wherein is he good but to taste sack and drink it? Wherein neat and cleanly but to carve a capon and eat it? Wherein cunning but in craft? Wherein crafty but in villainy? Wherein villainous but in all things? Wherein worthy but in nothing?
I would, your grace, would take me with you. Who means, your grace?
That villainous, abominable misleader of youth. Falstaff, that old white-bearded Satan.
My lord, I know the man.
I know thou dost.
But to say I know more harm in him than is in myself were to say more than I know. That he is old, the more the pity. His white hairs do witness it. But that he is, saving your reverence, a whoremaster, that I utterly deny. If sack and sugar be a fault, God help the wicked. If to be old and merry be a sin, then many an old host that I know is damned. If to be fat be to be hated, then Pharaoh's lean keen are to be loved. No, my good lord, banish Pato, banish Balder, banish Poins, but for sweet Jack Falstaff, kind Jack Falstaff, true Jack Falstaff, valiant Jack Falstaff, and therefore more valiant, being as he is old Jack Falstaff. Banish not him thy Harry's company. Banish him not thy Harry's company. Banish plump Jack, and banish all the world.
Do. Will.
What is this scene about?
Well, Hotspur's back at it again.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
Uh-huh.
Do what?
Okay, calm down. Calm down. What are you doing?
I have this map.
Where'd you get that map?
I found it. Some guy was walking away and it was dropped.
You mean the guys that were just walking out of here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you not recognize him? That was Hotspur. They kind of need that map to figure out who's gonna get what in England when they win.
Oh.
Yeah. You can't have it.
Huh?
Yeah, you can't have it.
Well, I want to keep it.
You can't keep it. Go give it back.
Okay.
Hurry up. The
I will.
scene is about to start.
These promises are fair, the party sure, and our induction full of prosperous hope.
Lord Mortimer and Cousin Glendower, will you sit down? And Uncle Worcester.
Sit, Cousin Percy, sit, good Cousin Hotspur. For by the name as of Lancaster doth speak of you, his cheek looks pale, and with a rising sigh he wisheth you in heaven.
And you in hell, as oft he hears Owen Glendower spoke of.
I cannot blame him. At your nativity, the front of heaven was full of fiery shapes and burning crescents, and at my birth, the frame and huge foundation of earth shaped like a coward.
Why, so it would have done the same season if your mother's cat had but kittened, though yourself had never been born.
I say the earth did shake when I was born.
And I say the earth was not of my mind, if you suppose, as fearing you it shook.
Cousins, of many men I do not bear these crossings. Give me leave to tell you that once again, at my birth, the front of heaven was full of fiery shapes, and these signs marked me extraordinary. And of all the courses in my life do show, I am not in role of common men.
I think there's no man speaks better Welsh. All to dinner.
Peace, Cousin Percy. You will make him mad.
Why, I can teach you, cousin, to command the devil.
And I can teach thee, cuz, to shame the devil by telling truth.
Come, come, no more of this unprofitable chat.
Come, here's the map. Shall we divide our right according to our threefold order ta'en?
The Archdeacon hath divided it into 3 limits very equally. England from Trent and Severn hitherto. By south and east is to my part assigned. All westward, Wales beyond the Severn shore, and all the fertile land within that bound. To Owen Glendower and your cuz to you, the remnant northward lying off from Trent. Tomorrow, Cousin Percy, you and I and my good Lord of Worcester will set forth to meet your father and the Scottish power. As is appointed us at Shrewsbury, my father Glendower is not ready yet, nor shall we need his help these 14 days. Within that space you may have drawn together your tenants, friends, and neighboring gentlemen.
Methinks my moiety in quantity equals not one of yours. See how this river comes me cranking in and cuts me from the best of all my land? I'll have the current in this place dammed up. And here the smug and silver Trent shall run in a new channel, fair and evenly. It shall not wind with such deep intent to rob me of so rich a bottom here.
Not wind? It shall, it must. You see it doth.
Yea, but mark how he bears his course and runs me up, with like advantage on the other side, gelding the opposite continent as much as on the other side it takes from you.
Yeah, but a little charge will trench him there, and on this north side won this cape of land, and then he runs straight and even.
I'll have it so. A little charge will do it.
I'll not have it altered.
Will not you?
No, nor you shall not.
Who shall say me nay?
Why, that I will.
Let me not understand you then. Speak it in Welsh.
Come, you shall Trent turned.
I do not care. I'll give thrice so much land to any well-deserving friend. But in the way of bargain, mark ye me, I'll cavil to the 9th part of a hair. Are the indentures drawn? Shall we be gone?
The moon shines fair. You may away by night. I'll haste the rider.
Fie, cousin Percy, how you cross my father.
I cannot choose. Oh, he is as tedious as a tired horse, a railing wife, worse than a smoky house. I had rather live with cheese and garlic in a windmill far than feed on cates and have him talk to me in any summer house in Christendom.
In faith, he is a worthy gentleman, exceedingly well read and profited. In strange concealment, valiant as a lion, and as wondrous affable and as bountiful as mines of India. Shall I tell you, cousin? He holds your temper in a high respect, and curbs himself even of his natural scope. When you come cross his humor, faith, he does. I warrant you, that man is not alive. Might so have tempted him as you have done, without the taste of danger and reproof. But do not use it oft. Let me entreat you.
Must needs learn, Lord, to amend this fault. Though sometimes it show greatness, courage, blood, yet oftentimes it doth present harsh rage, defective manners, want of government, pride, haughtiness, opinion of disdain, the least of which haunting a nobleman, looseth men's hearts and leaves behind a stain upon the beauty of all parts, besides beguiling them of commendation.
Well, I am schooled. Good manners be your speed. Lord Percy is on fire to go, and by this our book is drawn. We'll but seal, and then to horse immediately.
With all my heart.
Hey, Father, have you heard what happens next in Henry IV?
Like how Harry has been away from his father for so long and finally now decides to return to the castle?
I mean, yeah, but at least he came back for the war that's about to go down.
Well, Luke, I guess you really would look at it that way. But there's no way King Henry is going to be able to forget Harry's unexcusable past behavior.
Well, if I were him, I'd hope my dad would be gracious enough to forgive me.
Son, how is his father going to be able to forgive him when he only surrounds himself with commoners? Anyways, look at one of his closest friends, Falstaff. Surely he can never be a respected Jedi, king, in the future if he's to keep up this behavior.
I get that Henry didn't slum it around England, as you would call it, but surely acting like a human being and not some robot could actually help him out with the people of England. Also, I think his son makes a great point of how his father is acting a lot like King Richard II, as he spends too much time taking part in his pleasures as king. This is the type of behavior that Harry avoids because it's actually what makes people hate a king.
Well, you know what? You have your opinion, but that still doesn't explain the fact that Hotspur is a better fit for throne than Harry. I get that they are blood and all, but I can definitely see where he's coming from. I mean, I had to cut off my own son's hand to prove a point.
Yeah, great point.
Never mind that. But you cannot tell me Hotspur does not have more honor than Harry. That is what makes him more deserving. Hotspur even seems to remind the king of his former self.
Well, has it ever occurred to you that maybe Harry acts in such a way because he wants to be nothing like his father? Seriously, this play is screaming major daddy issues. I think that Prince Harry is going to prove his father wrong and even get revenge upon Hotspur. Killing Hotspur naturally transfers all of his honor and achievements over to Harry, right?
I think back in that day, it's exactly what that means. Also, in order to give Harry this chance to see if he's worthy of the throne and prove that it's not all an act, then I believe the king should give the prince command of the fleet for the upcoming war. And if all else fails, maybe he can ask to adopt Hotspur after the war.
Lords, give us leave. The Prince of Wales and I must have some private conference. I know not whether God will have it so for some displeasing service I have done. But thou dost in thy passages of life make me believe that thou art only marked for the hot vengeance and the rod of heaven to punish my mistreadings. Tell me else, could such inordinate and low desires accompany the greatness of thy blood, and hold their level with thy princely heart?
So please, your majesty, I would I could. Quit all offenses with as clear excuse as well I am doubtless. I can purge myself of many I am charged withal. I may for some things true where in my youth have faulty wandered and irregular, find pardon on my true submission.
God pardon thee. Yet let me wonder, Harry, at thy affections, which do hold a wing quite from the flight of all thy ancestors. The hope and expectation of thy time is ruined, and the soul of every man prophetically do forethink thy fall. Had I so lavish of my presence been, opinion, that did help me to the crown, had still kept loyal to possession and left me in reputeless banishment. By being seldom seen, I could not stir, but like a comet I was wondered at, and then I stole all courtesy from heaven, and dressed myself in such humility that I did pluck allegiance from men's hearts. The skipping king, he ambled up and down, that being daily swallowed by men's eyes. They surfeited with honey and began to loathe the taste of sweetness, whereof a little more than a little is by much too much. And in that very line, Harry, standest thou. Not an eye, but is aweary of thy common sight, save mine, which hath desired to see thee more, which now doth that I would not have it do, make blind itself with foolish tenderness.
I shall hereafter, my thrice gracious lord, be more myself.
Even as I was, then is Percy now. He doth fill fields with harness in the realm, turns heads against the lion's armed jaws, and being no more in debt to years than thou, leads ancient lords and reverend bishops on to bloody battles and to bruising arms. But wherefore do I tell these news to thee? Why, Harry, do I tell thee of my foes, which art my nearest and dearest enemy? Thou that art like enough, through vassal fear, base inclination, and the start of spleen, to fight against me under Percy's pay, to dog his heels, and curtsy at his frowns, to show how much thou art degenerate.
Do not think so. You shall not find it so. I will redeem all this on Percy's head, and in the closing of some glorious day, be bold to tell you that I am your son, when I will wear a garment all of blood, and stain my favors in a bloody mass, which washed away shall scour my shame with it, and that shall be the day wherein it lights, that this same child of honor and renown, this gallant Hotspur, this all-praised knight, and your unthought of Harry, chance to meet. I shall make this northern youth exchange his glorious deeds for my indignities. Percy is but my factor, good my lord, to engross up glorious deeds on my behalf, and I will call him to so strict account that he shall render every glory up, yea, even the slightest worship of his time, or I will tear the reckoning from his heart. This is the name of God I promise here, the which if he be pleased, I shall perform. If not, the end of life cancels all bands, and I will die 100,000 deaths, ere break the smallest parcel of this vow.
100,000 rebels die in this. Thou shalt have charge and sovereign trust herein. How now, good Blunt? Thy looks are full of speed.
So hath the business that I come to speak of. Lord Mortimer of Scotland hath sent word that Douglas and the English rebels have met the 11th of this month at Shrewsbury. A mighty and a fearful head they are, if promises be kept on every hand, as offered foul play in the state.
The Earl of Westmoreland set forth today, with him my son, Lord John of Lancaster, on Wednesday next. Harry, you shall set forward. On Thursday we ourselves will march. Let's away. Advantage feeds him fat while men delay.
Hi, my name is Janelle Sutherland, and today I'm going to be presenting the Tavern Scene, Act 3, Scene 3. Bardolph, I'm not fallen away vilely since this last action. Do I not bate? Do I not dwindle? Why, my skin hangs about me like an old lady's loose gown. I am withered like an old apple John. Well, I'll repent, and that suddenly, while I am in some liking. I shall be out of heart shortly, and then I shall have no strength to repent. And I have not forgotten what the inside of a church is made of. I am a peppercorn, a brewer's horse. The inside of a church. Company, villainous company, hath been the spoil of me, and now I live out of all order, out of all compass. Why, you are so fat, Sir John. You must needs be out of all compass, out of all reasonable compass, Sir John. Do thou amend thy face, and I'll amend my life. Sblood, I would my face were in your belly. God a mercy, so should I be sure to be heartburned? How now, lad, is the wind in that door, i'faith? Must we all march? I have procured thee, Jack, a charge of foot. I would it had been a horse. Where shall I find one that can steal well? Oh, for a fine thief of the age of 22 or thereabouts? Bardolph, my lord, go bear this letter to Lord John of Lancaster, to my brother John, this to my lord of Westmoreland. Go, Pedo, to horse, for thou and I have 30 miles to ride yet ere dinner time. Jack, meet me tomorrow in the Temple Hall at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. There shalt thou know thy charge, and there receive money and order to their furniture. The land is burning. Percy stands on high, and either we or they must lower lie. Rare words, brave world. Hostess, my breakfast, come. Oh, I wish this tavern were my drum.
Bardolph, am I not fallen away, Bailey, since this last action? Do I not bate? Do I not dwindle? Why, my skin hangs about me like an old lady's loose gown. I am withered like an old apple john. Well, I'll repent, and that suddenly, while I am in some liking. I shall be out of heart shortly, and then I shall have no strength to repent. And I have not forgotten what the inside of a church is made of. I am a peppercorn, a brewer's horse. The inside of a church, company, villainous company, hath been the spoil of me. And now I live out of all order, out of all compass.
Why, you are so fat, Sir John, that you must needs be out of all compass, out of all reasonable compass, Sir John.
Do thou amend thy face, and I'll amend my life.
Splud, I would my face were in your belly.
God of mercy, so should I be sure to be heartburned. How now, lad? Is the wind in that door? I faith, must we all march?
I have procured thee, Jack, a charge of foot.
I would it had been of horse. Where shall I find one that can steal well? Oh, for a fine thief of the age of 22 or thereabouts.
Bardolph,
my lord.
Go, bear this letter to Lord John of Lancaster. To my brother John, this is my lord of Westmoreland. Go, Pedo, to my horse. To horse, for thou and I have 30 miles to ride, yet ere dinner time. Jack, meet me tomorrow at the Temple Hall at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. There thou shalt note thy charge, and there receive money and order for their furniture. The land is burning, Percy stands on high, and either we or they must lower lie.
Rare words, brave world. Hostess, my breakfast, come. Oh, I wish this tavern were my drum.
What's this? No way, it's a script for the King Henry IV play. This is gonna be good. Let's take a look at Act 4, Scene 1, shall we? Hotspur's definitely not gonna like this letter from his father. This letter's gonna cause a lot of questions. But of course, he's going to convince himself that everything's okay and just be optimistic about the situation. Ugh. And the snake Worcester gets involved too? Can this get any worse? Oh my gosh, and of course it finds a way to get worse. There's another messenger bringing more horrible news. When is it ever gonna get better for Hotspur? Well, after reading this, I can definitely tell this is gonna be a good scene, and I would like to watch it more than read it. So, less talking and more watching.
Well said, my noble Scot. If speaking truth in this fine age were not thought flattery, such attribution should the Douglas have as not a soldier of this season's stamp should go so general current through the world. By God, I cannot flatter. I do defy the tongues of soothers, but a braver place in my heart's love hath no man than yourself.
Thou art the king of honor.
What letters hast thou there? I can but thank you.
These letters come from your father.
Letters from him? Why not he come himself?
He cannot come, my lord. He is grievous sick.
Zounds. How has he the leisure to be sick in such a justling time? Who leads his power? Under whose government come they along?
His letters bear his mind, not I, my lord.
I prithee tell me his dolt he keeps his bed.
He did, my lord, 4 days ere I set forth, and at the time my departure thence, he was much feared by his physicians.
I would the state of time and have first been whole, ere he by sickness had been visited. His health was never better worth than now.
Sick now? Droop now? This sickness doth infect the very lifeblood of our enterprise. Yet doth he give us bold advertisement that with our small conjunction we should on to see how fortune is disposed of us? For, as he writes, there is no quailing now, because the king is certainly possessed of all our purposes. What say you to it?
Your father's sickness is a mayim to it.
A perilous gash, a very limb lopped off, and yet in faith it is not. His present want seems more than we shall find it. Where it is good to set the exact wealth of all our states all at one cast, to set so rich a main on the hazard of one doubtful hour, were it not good, for therein we should read the very bottom and the soul of hope, the very list, the utmost bound of all our fortunes.
Faith, and so we should, where now remains a sweet reversion, we may boldly spend upon the hope of what is to come in. A comfort of retirement lives in this.
A rendezvous, a home to fly unto. If that the devil and mischance took big upon the maidenhead of our affairs.
But yet I would your father had been here.
I rather of his absence make this use. It lends a luster and more great opinion, a larger dare to our great enterprise, than if the earl were here, for men to think if we without his help can make a head to push against a kingdom, with his help we shall o'erturn it topsy-turvy down. Yet all goes well, yet all our joints are whole.
As heart think, there is not such a word spoke of in Scotland as this term of fear.
My cousin Vernum, welcome by my soul.
Pray God my news be worth a welcome, Lord. The Earl of Westmoreland, 7,000 strong, is marching hitherwards, with him Prince John.
No harm. What more?
And further, I have learned the king himself in person is set forth, or hitherwards intended speedily, with strong and mighty preparation.
He shall be welcome too. Where is his son, the nimble-footed madcap Prince of Wales, and his comrades that daft the world aside and bid it pass?
All furnished, all in arms, as full of spirit as the month of May, and gorgeous as the sun at midsummer, wanton as youthful goats, wild as young bulls. I saw young Harry with his beaver on, his cuisses on his thighs, gallantly armed, rise from the ground like feathered Mercury, and vaulted with such ease into his seat as if an angel dropped down from the clouds, to turn and wind a fiery Pegasus, and witch the world with noble horsemanship.
Let them come. They come like sacrifices in their trim. And to the fire-eyed maid of smoky war, all hot and bleeding we will offer them. The mailed Mars shall on his altar sit, up to the ears in blood. Come, let me taste my horse, who is to bear me like a thunderbolt against the bosom of the Prince of Wales. Harry to Harry shall, hot horse to hot horse, meet and ne'er part till one drop down a corpse. Oh, that Glendower were come.
There is more. I learned in Worcester as I rode along, he cannot draw his power for 14 days.
That's the worst tidings that I hear of yet.
Ay, by my faith, that bears a frosty sound.
And what may the king's whole battle reach unto?
To 30,000.
40 let it be. My father and Glendower being both away, the powers of us may serve so great a day. Come, let us take a muster speedily. Doomsday is near. Die all, die merrily.
Hey all, welcome back. I'm David.
And I'm Brandon.
I hope you're enjoying the play so far. This next scene is Act 4, Scene 2. A lot of Falstaff in this, Brandon. What do you think of Falstaff so far?
Man, Falstaff is like your crazy uncle who likes to tell tall tales, and he just messes up a lot of things for you. So it's crazy how the prince's best friend is just this mess up who messes up every single thing in his life. And the crazy thing is he's sticking with him even till now. Just props to Prince for keeping his best friends close, but it's a little weird because he's just not a good person at this point.
He really isn't. And I mean, I know he's supposed to be the comic relief in this, but he really is just kind of a turd. And for some reason, like the prince finds this really endearing. And I guess we all know people with flaws, and we still love them. And for some reason, he sees them as like this quasi father figure. And in this scene, Falstaff he's tasked with going out and finding an army, and he decides, I'm going to go to a bunch of rich people and I'm going to give them the opportunity to pay me so that I can get paid and they can get out of being drafted into my army. And so then he's ended up with this group of poor peasants that can't even afford clothing, and that's his army.
Yeah, and it's crazy because like he's sort of selling the whole army before they even start. You know, like how after a war or something, like there's always a person who tells a tall tale that they fought 1 versus 50 and they killed everyone. Well, he's doing this to himself, but it's not going to be a tall tale because he's really screwing himself with this whole army just being by himself, him and the prince. It's just crazy how I just feel bad for the prince, how he's trusting in his friend to set up stuff and it's just not going well at all.
Yeah, I mean, not only does he have this terrible army, but the reality is he plans on hiding and not fighting anyway. So, I mean, yeah, this scene more than anyone seems to just really personify how terrible a friend Falstaff is. But if you've enjoyed Falstaff so far, you won't be disappointed with this scene either. So enjoy, everyone, and see you soon.
Bardolph, get thee before to Coventry. Fill me a bottle of sack. Our soldiers shall march through. Will to Sutton Coldfield tonight. Bid my Lieutenant Pato meet me at Town's End.
I will, Captain. Farewell.
If I be not ashamed of my soldiers, I am a soused gurnet. I have misused the king's press damnably. I have got, in exchange of 150 soldiers, 300 and odd pounds. I press me none but good householders. I press me none but such toasts and butter, with hearts in their bellies no bigger than pins' heads, and they have bought out their services. And now my whole charge consists of slaves as ragged as Lazarus in painted cloth, where the glutton's dogs licked his sores. And such have I to fill up the rooms of them as I have bought out their services, that you would think that I had 150 tattered prodigals lately come from swine keeping, from eating daft and husks. A mad fellow met me on the way and told me I had unloaded all the giblets and pressed the dead bodies. No eye hath seen such scarecrows. I'll not march through Coventry with them, that's flat. There's not a shirt and a half in all my company, and the half shirt is 2 napkins tacked together and thrown over the shoulders like a herald's coat without sleeves. But that's all one. They'll find linen enough on every hedge.
How now, Blown Jack? How now, Quilt?
What? How? How now, mad wag? What a devil dost thou in Warwickshire? My good Lord Westmoreland, I cry you mercy. I thought your honor had already been in Shrewsbury.
Faith, Sir John, 'tis more than time I were there, and you too, but my powers are there already. The king, I can tell you, looks for us all. We must away all night.
Tut, never fear me. I am as vigilant as a cat to steal cream.
I think to steal cream indeed, for thy theft hath already made thee butter. But tell me, Jack, whose fellows are these that come after?
Mine, Hal, mine.
I did never see such pitiful rascals.
Tut, tut. Good enough to toss. Food for powder, food for powder. They'll fill a pit as well as a better. Tush, man. Mortal men, mortal men.
Aye, but Sir John, methinks they are exceeding poor and bare, too beggarly.
Faith, for their poverty. I know not where they had that. And for their bareness, I am sure they never learned that of me.
No, I'll be sworn, unless you call 3 fingers in the ribs bare. But, Sirrah, make haste. Percy is already in the field.
What? Is the king encamped?
He is, Sir John. I fear we shall stay too long.
Well, to the latter end of a fray, and the beginning of a feast of fits and dull fighter and keen guests.
Well, what do we have here? Oh, nothing, just a letter from the family who is asking to get hurt. Okay, calm down, breathe, start from the beginning. What happened? So, you remember the family who basically caused no one in my house to go to sleep on time for like 2 months straight? Yeah, we were talking about that last week, and you were really bad. Oh, don't worry, I still am. But, they now want peace. What? What do you mean? Oh, you heard me right. They want peace. After this, remember, it's the same people who said that we should be banned and we're worthless and everything, and now they want peace. Okay, are you okay? Yeah, sure, I'm fine. Nothing else can ruin this day. Like, no, it's fine. 1 minute they're telling me to go away, and then they're like, come for dinner, we're fine, everything's fine. You don't sound good. Yeah, thanks, no kidding. This guy handed me the news and then ran. He probably knew you were gonna hurt him. Hey, what's that supposed to mean? Well, you don't have the best temper. Okay, yeah, but whose side are you on? Hey, I'm on your side, you know that. Okay, you're right. You know, it's one thing to like torment me, and then to bring my family in this? Ugh, fool me once, shame on you. Fool my family, you're dead. Okay, you need to calm down. Don't you think you're being harsh? Absolutely not. They hurt my family and me. What do you expect me to do? Honestly, yeah. I'd go, and truthfully, I'd go after them and probably wouldn't stop hurting till there's blood. Exactly, thank you. So are you gonna help me do this or not? Do you want me to be a bigger person? Come on, you know I hate conflict. Yeah, and just answer the question for me. Well, I don't know. I mean, it could hurt a lot of people. Hey, they hurt my whole family. I don't know what do you want me to do about it? Well, maybe you should take a breath. Take a breath? They basically want to hurt everyone I've ever cared about. And no, are you going to help me or not? I need revenge, not only for me, but for my family. Okay, but no buts. Either you're in or you're out. Okay, I'm in. Great. When are you coming? Wait, we're doing this now? Yes, we're doing this now. That's the only way I'll be able to sleep. Okay, I'm coming.
We'll fight with him tonight.
It may not be.
You give him then advantage.
Not a whit.
What say you so? Looks he not for supply?
So do we.
I come with gracious offers from the king, if you vouchsafe me hearing and respect.
Welcome, Sir Walter Blunt. And would to God you were of our determination. Some of us love you well, and even those some envy your great deservings and good name, because you are not of our quality, but stand against us like an enemy.
And God defend, but still I should stand so long as out of limit and true rule you stand against anointed majesty. But to my charge, the king hath sent me to know the nature of your griefs. if that the king have any way your good deserts for God, which he confesseth to be manifold, he bids you name your griefs, and with all speed. You shall have your desires with interest, and pardon absolute for yourself in these, herein misled by your suggestion.
The king is kind, and well we know the king knows at what time to promise, when to pay. My father and my uncle and myself did give him that same royalty he wears. My father gave him welcome when he heard him swear and vow to God he came but to be Duke of Lancaster, to sue his livery and beg his peace with tears of innocency and terms of zeal. My father, in kind heart and pity moved, swore him assistance and performed it too. Now, when the lords and barons of the realm perceived Northumberland did lean to him, the more and less came with cap and knee. He presently, as greatness knows itself, steps me a little higher in his vow, made to my father while his blood was poor, and upon the naked shore at Ravensborough.
Tut, I can hear this.
Then to the point. In short time after, he deposed the king, soon after deprived him of his life, suffered his kingsman March, who is, if every owner were well placed, indeed his king, to be engaged in Wales. There without ransom lie forfeit, disgraced me in my happy victories, sought to entrap me by intelligence, raided mine uncle from the council board, enraged dismissed my father from court, broke oath on oath, committed wrong on wrong, and in conclusion drove us to seek out his head of safety, and withal to pry unto his title, which we find too indirect for long countenance.
Shall I return the answer to the king?
Not so, Sir Walter. We'll withdraw a while, go to the king, and let there be in pawn some surety for a safe return again. And in the morning early shall mine uncle bring him our purposes, and so farewell.
I would accept of grace and love.
And maybe so we shall.
Pray God you do.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey. So, I got tea.
Okay, spell.
So basically, you know the entire situation that's going on with Henry and Worcester and all their drama.
I mean, who doesn't?
Exactly. So basically, what I heard was that Henry confronted Worcester about the entire situation and how like he wanted to make peace and avoid conflict and this that. And Worcester was like, yeah, I wanted to avoid conflict this entire time, but you already know Henry. You already know how like he was like, okay, you say that you wanted to avoid conflict, you wanted to make peace and avoid this entire situation, but still yet your actions said otherwise.
Exactly. Now, how are you gonna say that you want to make peace but do the complete opposite? That makes no sense.
Exactly.
What I heard was that Henry wanted the men to tell Hotspur that he would challenge him in a one-on-one duel, so that lives would be spared.
Nice.
But you already know how Hotspur is, and I mean everybody knows that he's a hothead. Yeah, so Henry knew that, of course, Hotspur would decline the offer, and he still decided to deploy his troops.
Well, yeah, he's not gonna just sit around and wait. You know what I mean?
Exactly. But that's all of the tea I have as of right now. But I'll call you when I have more.
We'll see how it pans out.
All right, bye.
Okay, bye.
How bloodily the sun begins to peer above yon bulky hill. The day looks pale at his distemperature.
The southern wind doth play the trumpet to his purposes, and by his hollow whistling in the leaves foretells a tempest and blustering day.
Then with the losers let it sympathize, for nothing can seem foul to those that win. How now, my lord of Worcester? 'Tis not well that you and I should meet upon such terms as now we meet. You have deceived our trust, and made us doff our easy robes of peace to crush our old limbs in ungentle steel. This is not well, my lord, this is not well. What say you to it? Will you again unknit this churlish knot of all abhorred war, and move in that obedient orb again, where you did give a fair and natural light, and be no more an exhaled meteor, a prodigy of fear, and a portent of broached mischief to an unborn time?
Hear me, my liege, for mine own part I could be well content to entertain the lag end of my life with quiet hours. For I protest I have not sought the day of this dislike.
You have not sought it. How comes it then?
Rebellion lay in his way, and he found it.
Peace, Chewit, peace.
For you my staff of office did I break, in Richard's time and posted day and night, to meet you on the way and kiss your hand. It was myself, my brother and his son that brought you home and boldly did outdare the dangers of the time. You swore to us, and you did swear the oath of Doncaster, that you did nothing purpose against the state, nor claim no further than your new fallen right, the seat of gaunt dukedom of Lancaster. To this we swore our aid, but in short space you took occasion to be quickly wooed, to gripe the general sway into your hand, forgot your oath to us at Doncaster. We were enforced for safety, sake to fly out of your sight and raise the present head, whereby we stand opposed by such means as you yourself have forged against yourself by unkind usage, dangerous countenance, and violation of all faith and troth, sworn to us in your younger enterprise.
These things indeed you have articulate, and never yet did insurrection want such watercolors to paint his cause, nor moody beggars starving for a time of pell-mell havoc and confusion.
Tell your nephew, the Prince of Wales doth join with all the world in praise of Henry Percy. By my hopes, this present enterprise set off his head. I do not think a braver gentleman, a more active valiant, a more valiant young, daring or more bold is now alive. To his grace, this latter age with noble deeds, for my part I may speak to my shame. I have a trump in chivalry, and so I hear he doth account me too. Yet this before my father's majesty, I am content that he shall take the odds of his great name and estimation, and will to save blood on either side, try fortune with him in a single fight.
And, Prince of Wales, so dare we venture thee. No, good watcher, no. We love our people well, even those we love that are misled upon your cousin's part. And will they take the offer of our grace? Both he and they and you, yea, every man shall be my friend again, and I'll be his. So tell your cousin, and bring me word. We offer fair, take it advisedly.
It will not be accepted, on my life. The Douglas and the Hotspur, both together, are confident against the world in arms.
Hence, therefore, every leader of his charge, for on their answer will we set on them, and God befriend us as our cause is just.
Hal, if thou see me down in the battle, bestride me so. 'Tis a point of friendship.
Nothing but a colossus can do thee that friendship. Say thy prayers and farewell.
I would 'twere bedtime, Hal, and all well.
Why, thou owest God a death.
'Tis not due yet. I would be loath to pay him before his day. What need I be so forward with him that calls not on me? Well, 'tis no matter. Honor pricks me on. Yea, but how if honor prick me off when I come on? How then? Can honor set a leg? No. Or an arm? No. Or take away the grief of a wound? No. Honor hath no skill in surgery then? No. What is honor? A word. What is in that word, honor? What is that, honor? Air, a trim reckoning. Who hath it? He that died o' Wednesday. Doth he feel it? No. Doth he hear it? No. 'Tis insensible then. Yea, to the dead. But will it not live with the living? No. Why? Detraction will not suffer it. Therefore, I'll none of it. Honor is a mere struncheon. And so ends my catechism.
Kaylin, hello?
Oh, hey Lily, what's up?
What you doing right now? We have to introduce the scene that's about to happen, remember?
Oh, right. My bad.
All right, well, tell you what. We'll do this quick scene synopsis, and you can go back to your work.
Okay, deal.
Okay, perfect. Here's the tea. We're in the crucial part of the play where the character Worcester misquotes the king messages, and it ultimately leads to a huge battle.
Wait, Lily, so you're basically telling me that this man Worcester is the entire reason why we're in this entire mess anyways?
Hey, believe it, I don't like it any more than you, but at least we're not the ones standing right in the middle of the yelling match down there.
I mean, you do have a point.
I know. Speaking of which, how's that paper going?
Lily, we don't speak of her.
Oh, my bad. Can you see what's happening down there?
Yeah, wait. Now that I think about it in the next scene, there's gonna be so many people on that field. Wait, where's the social distancing? We're in the middle of a freaking pandemic, people. Somebody, you better call Melanie Richardson.
Wait, there's no blood, right? Okay, wait, hold on. What's Melody's number?
Try 1-800 social distancing.
Okay, dialing her now. Oh my goodness, she's gonna be so angry with us. So much for a healthy break with our families. Isn't your aunt coming for dinner?
Yeah, well, that was the plan, but now I can't even imagine with these new guidelines.
Dang, that sucks. Stupid college kids not realizing we're in the middle of a pandemic. You'd think having 5 people outside, but no, there was what, 15 people fighting?
That's what it looks like.
Sad, sad day. But what else is there?
I see swords, shields, yelling, pretty much everybody. Wait, why is the basketball team gonna be there?
Basketball team? Wait,
yeah.
So there's like a massive amount of blood?
Gee, Lily, I don't know. You see, you give 30 people swords, add in a basketball team from down the street, an overflow of anger, an angry Hotspur standing at the top of a hill. No, Lily, there's gonna be no blood. How did you even come up with that? You're such an intellectual.
Okay, you're right. I'm sorry. See, I have 12,000 things to do, but you know me, I can't think before noon.
Yeah, I know, you're right. I mean, we're currently 1 week away from finals. I mean, and then they decide to just drop this bombshell. I can't even think straight.
Don't tell me about it. I barely have time to talk to you, let alone my mom between classes. I'm running a total of, 4 hours of sleep in the past 2 nights? There's 3 essays due, and I'm basically killing myself trying to finish everything by midnight. It's fine. We're fine. Everything's fine.
We're good. How about we go back to talking about the scene because the audience is waiting.
Oh, okay, good idea. I guess that's what you get from having me as a friend. Running on 4 hours of sleep and not enough. Anyway, where were we?
Okay, we're in the most critical part of the play. This is where we see Worcester basically make Hotspur angry by misinterpreting the message from the king. Worcester does this by speaking his truth about how to Hotspur, leading Hotspur into an angry wrath that leads to the battlefield.
This is all because someone didn't give him the letter on time?
That is correct.
Okay, so basically, if Messenger would given it on time, we would have avoided this whole thing?
Yes, you do have a point. But at the end of the day, would the messenger be the one to save us all?
I mean, if he listened to King Henry, we would have been happy by now and doing not witnessing this bloodbath.
I know, exactly. But here we are. Anyways, everybody, here is Act 5, Scene 2.
Oh no, my nephew must not know, Sir Richard, the liberal and kind offer of the king.
For best he did.
Then are we all undone? If not possible, it cannot be. The king should keep his word in loving us. He will suspect us still and find a time to punish his offense and other faults. We shall feed like oxen at a stall, the better cherished still the nearer death. My nephew's trespass may be well forgot. It hath the excuse of youth, and the heat of blood, all his offenses live upon my head, and on his father's. We did train him on, and his corruption being attained from us. We as the spring of all shall pay for all. Therefore, good cousin, let not Harry know in any case the offer of the king.
Deliver what you will. I'll say it is so. Here comes your cousin.
My uncle has returned. Deliver up my lord of Westmoreland. Uncle, what news?
The king will bid you battle presently.
Defy him by the Lord of Westmoreland.
Lord Douglas, go you and tell him so.
Marian shall, and very willingly.
There is no seeming mercy in the king.
Did you beg any? God forbid.
I told him gently of our grievances, of his oath breaking which he mended thus by now forswearing that he is forsworn. He calls us rebels, traitors, and will scourge with haughty arms this hateful name in us.
Arm, gentlemen, to arms, for I have thrown a brave defiance in King Henry's teeth, and Westmoreland that was engaged did bear it, which cannot choose but bring him quickly on.
The Prince of Wales stepped forth before the king and nephew, challenged you to single fight.
Oh, would the quarrel lay upon our heads, and that no man might draw short breath today, but I and Harry Monmouth. Tell me, how showed his tasking? Seem it in contempt?
No, in my soul, I never in my life did hear a challenge urged more modestly. Unless a brother should dare a brother to gentle exercise and proof of arms. He gave you all the duties of a man, trimmed up your praises with princely tongue, spoke like a chronicle, making you ever better than his praise. He made a blushing sidle of himself, and chid his truant youth with such a grace as if he mastered there a double spirit of teaching and of learning instantly. There did he pause. But let me tell the world, if he outlived the envy of this day, England did never owe so sweet a hope, so much misconstrued in his wantonness.
Cousin, I think thou art enamored on his follies. Never did I hear of any prince so wild a liberty. But, be he as he will, yet once ere night I will embrace him with a soldier's arm, that he should shrink under my courtesy. Arm with speed, and fellows, soldiers, friends. Better consider what you have to do than I that have not well the gift of tongue can lift your blood with persuasion.
My lord, here are letters for you.
I cannot read them now. O gentlemen, the time of life is short. To spend that shortness basely were too long. If life did ride upon a dial's point, still ending at the arrival of an hour, and if we live to tread on kings. If die, brave death, then princes die with us.
My lord, prepare. The king comes apace.
Let each man do his best! And here I draw a sword, whose temper I intend to stain with the best blood that I can meet with all the adventures of this perilous day. Now Esperance! Percy! And Senon! Sound the lofty instruments of war! And by that music let us all embrace! For by heaven to earth, some of us never a second time shall have that courtesy.
Good evening, everyone. This is Betsy Francisco reporting live from the Shrewsbury News Studio with more updates about the fight happening right now at the Shrewsbury battlefield. We have Danica Peterson alerting us with some breaking news regarding Sir Walter Blunt. Danica?
Hi, Betsy. Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Awesome, thank you. Yes, I am here today live at the Battle of Shrewsbury. As you see behind me, it is a very bloody, gruesome scene. Unfortunately, I have some breaking news coming at you. Sir Walter Blunt has indeed died. Douglas killed him and stabbed him multiple times. It's a bloody and gruesome scene. That's all I have coming at you right now. Apparently, Sir Walter Blunt was a decoy for King Henry. King Henry is nowhere to be seen on the battlefield at this time, and I don't know about his whereabouts at this time.
Danica, you say that King Henry is nowhere to be found. Do you know why that is or where he might be?
Yes, Betsy. At this time, I don't know about his whereabouts, but he could be back at his palace getting more troops and rounding them up, because as you see behind me, there's not a lot of people left because there's just many deaths, hundreds of deaths behind me. But as right now, I'm not 100% where his whereabouts are at this time.
Who else is at the scene right now?
As I know of, Harry and Falstaff are here. Apparently, Harry asked for Falstaff's sword for some reason, but Falstaff declined the offer because apparently Hotspur might still be alive. Yes, Hotspur might still be alive. And as we know from previous interviews with Hotspur and Falstaff, they have very bad blood in between them. But that is all I have for you right now. And back to you in the studio, Betsy.
Okay, thank you, Danica, for updating us about the battle at Shrewsbury. Audience, we will keep updated with more details, but that is all we have for now. Please stay tuned for more updates shortly. This is Betsy Francisco from Shrewsbury News.
What is thy name that in the battle thus thou crossest me? What honor dost thou seek upon my head?
Know then, my name is Douglas, and I do haunt thee in battle thus, because some tell me that thou art a king.
They tell thee true.
The Lord of Stafford, dear today, hath bought thy likeness, for instead of thee, King Harry, this sword hath ended him. So shall it be, unless thou yield thee as my prisoner.
I was not born a yielder, thou proud Scot, and thou shalt find a king that will revenge Lord Stafford's death.
O Douglas, hast thou fought at home and done thus? I never had triumphed upon a Scot.
All's done, all's won. Here, breathless, lies the king.
Where?
Here.
This Douglas? No, I know this face full well. A gallant knight he was, his name was Blunt, semblably furnished like the king himself.
Fool, go with thy soul whither it goes. A borrowed title hast thou bought too dear. Why didst thou tell me that thou wert a king?
The king hath many marching in his coats.
Now, by my sword, I will kill all his coats. I'll murder all his wardrobe, piece by piece, until I meet the king.
Up and away, our soldiers stand full and fairly for the day.
Though I could escape shot free at London, I fear the shot here. There's no scoring but upon the pate. Soft. Who are you? Sir Walter Blunt. There's honor for you. Here's no vanity. I am as hot as molten lead, and as heavy too. God keep lead out of me. I need no more weight than mine own bowels. I have led my ragamuffins where they are peppered. There's not 3 of my 150 left alive. and they are for the town's end to beg during life. But who comes here?
What? Standest thou idle here? Lend me thy sword. Many a nobleman lies stark and stiff under the hoofs of vaunting enemies, whose deaths are yet unrevenged. I prithee, lend me thy sword.
Oh, Hal, I prithee, give me leave to breathe a while. Turk Gregory never did such deeds in arms as I have done this day. I have paid Percy. I have made him sure.
He is indeed, and living to kill thee. I prithee, lend me thy sword.
Nay, for God, Hal, Percy be alive, thou gettest not my sword. But take my pistol if thou wilt.
Give it to me. What is it in this case?
Aye, Hal, 'tis hot, 'tis hot. There's that will sack a city.
What, is it a time to jest and dally now?
Well, if Percy be alive, I'll pierce him. If he do come in my way, so, if he do not, if I come in his willingly, let him make a carbonaro of me. I like not such grinning honor as Sir Walter hath. Give me life, which, if I can save, so, if not, honor comes unlooked for, and there's an end.
Hi guys, welcome to the Zoom meeting. Thank you for you guys joining. Let me just put you guys on mute. I'm on FaceTime with one of my friends, all right?
Oh, okay.
Oh my God, those girls are so annoying. They want me to do all their work so they can like basically pass the class. But anyways, they don't even know how the play works. So in this scene, basically, King Henry, Prince Hal, Westmoreland, and Prince John discuss their battle strategy. And with this, eventually Prince John proves himself to Prince Hal that his father is brave and honorable. So basically, the scene goes into having Douglas entering the scene, and basically goes into declaring and accusing King Henry of being a decoy. But the king continues to stand by his title, insisting that he is the real king. With this accusation, King Henry basically agrees to fight Douglas. And with this fight, Henry ends up getting wounded by Prince Hal to come save and rescue his father. Can you believe that?
You do know we can hear you, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God, guys, I'm so sorry. What did you guys hear?
We basically heard everything, but what you kind of left out from all that was that with all that situation, Prince Hal basically drives Douglas off, and tells Prince Hal, and King Henry tells Prince Hal that he has redeemed himself, because basically Prince Hal couldn't do anything considering he was wounded. So him helping and saving King Henry basically gained respect from the king. But eventually Hotspur comes into the play and comes into the scene and confronts Prince Hal, and basically they talk crap about each other to one another, and that obviously would lead to a fight between the two. And eventually Hotspur dies, and Prince Hal continues to feel good about himself. And yeah.
Well, surprisingly, Falstaff ends up revealing that he faked his death, and basically he twists the truth around entirely for his argument. And taking that as an advantage, Falstaff takes that opportunity to kill Hotspur and flaunts his dead corpse around to show everyone what he achieved. And through that unmistakable speech, Falstaff proves to both the princess that it is truly him in the flesh, and basically persuades Hal to go along with this plan. With all the good happening to Falstaff, he ends up declaring that he will soon become a changed man.
I prithee, Harry, withdraw thyself. Thou bleedest too much. Lord John of Lancaster, go you with him.
Not I, my lord, unless I did bleed too.
I beseech your majesty, make up, lest your retirement do amaze your friends.
I will do so. My lord of Westmoreland, lead him to his tent.
Come, my lord, I'll lead you to your tent.
Lead me, my lord. I do not need your help. And God forbid a shallow scratch should drive the Prince of Wales from such a field as this, where stained nobility lies trodden on, and rebels' arms triumph in massacres.
We breathe too long. Come, cousin Westmoreland, our duty this way lies. For God's sake, come.
By God, thou hast deceived me, Lancaster. I did not think thee lord of such a spirit. Before I loved thee as a brother, John, but now I do respect thee as my soul.
I saw him hold Lord Percy at the point with lustier maintenance than I did look for of such an ungrown warrior.
Oh, this boy lends mettle to us all.
Another king! They grow like Hydra's heads. I am the Douglas, fatal to all those that wear those colors on them. What art thou that counterfeits the person of a king?
The king himself, who, Douglas, grieves at heart. So many of his shadows thou hast met, and not the very king. I have 2 boys seek Percy and thyself about the field. But, seeing thou fallest on me so luckily, I will assay thee, and defend thyself.
I fear thou art another counterfeit, and yet, in faith, thou bearest thee like a king. But mine I am sure thou art, whoe'er thou be, and thus I win thee.
Hold up thy head, vile Scot, or thou art like never to hold it up again. The spirit of valiant Shirley, Stafford, Blunt are in my arms. It is the Prince of Wales that threatens thee, who never promiseth, but he means to pay. Surely, my lord, how fares your grace?
Stay and breathe a while. Thou hast redeemed thy lost opinion, and showed thou makest some tender of my life in this fair rescue thou hast brought to me.
O God, they did me too much injury that ever said I hearkened for your death. If it were so, I might have let alone the insulting hand of Douglas over you, which would have been as speedy in your end as all the poisonous potions in the world, and saved the treacherous labor of your son.
Make up to Clifton. I'll to Sir Nicholas Gauzy.
If I mistake not, thou art Harry Monmouth.
Thou speakest as if I would deny my name.
My name is Harry Percy.
Why then I see a very valiant rebel of thy name. I am Prince of Wales, and think not, Percy, to share with me in glory any more. 2 stars keep not their motion in one sphere, nor can England brook a double reign of Harry Percy and the Prince of Wales.
Nor shall it, Harry, for the hour is come to end one of us, and would to God thy name and arms were now as great as mine.
I'll make it greater ere I part from thee, and all the budding honors on thy crest I'll crop to make a garland for my head.
I can no longer brook thy vanities.
Well said, Hal. To it, Hal. Nay, you shall find no boys' play here, I can tell you.
O Harry, thou hast robbed me of my youth. I better brook these loss of brittle life than those proud titles thou hast won of me. And they wound my thoughts worse than thy sword my flesh. But thoughts, the slaves of life, and life time's fool, and time that takes survey of all the world must have a stop. No, Percy, thou art dust, and food for
worms, brave Percy. Fare thee well, great heart. This earth that bears thee dead bears not alive so stout a gentleman. But let thy favors hide thy mangled face. Adieu, and take thy praise with thee to heaven, the ignominy asleep with thee in the grave, but not remembered in thy epitaph. What? Old acquaintance? Could not all this flesh keep in a little life? Poor Jack, farewell. I could have better spread a better man, or I should have a heavy miss of thee. If I were much in love with vanity, death hath not struck so fat a deer today, though many dearer in this bloody fray, and bowed will I see thee by and by. till then in blood by a noble Percy lie.
Emboweled? If thou embowel me today, I'll give you leave to powder me and eat me too tomorrow. 'Sblood, 'twas time to counterfeit, or that hot termagant Scot had paid me Scot and lot too. Counterfeit. I lie. I am no counterfeit. To die is to be a counterfeit, for he is but the counterfeit of a man who hath not the life of a man. But to counterfeit dying when a man thereby liveth is to be no counterfeit, but the true and perfect image of life indeed. Better part of valor is discretion, in the which better part I have saved my life. Sounds. I am afraid of this gunpowder Percy, though he be dead. How if he should counterfeit too, and rise? By my faith, I'm afraid he would prove the better counterfeit. Therefore, I'll make him sure, yea, and I'll swear I killed him. Why may not he rise as well as I? Nothing confutes me but eyes, and nobody sees me. Therefore, with a new wound in your thigh, come you along with me.
But soft, who have we here? Did you not tell me this fat man was dead?
I did. I saw him dead, breathless and bleeding on the ground. Art thou alive?
No, that's for certain. But if I not be Jack Falstaff, then I am a Jack. There's Percy, if your father will do me any honor. So, if not, let him kill the next Percy himself. I look to be either Earl or Duke, I can assure you.
Why, Percy I killed myself and saw thee dead.
Didst thou? Lord, Lord, how this world is given to lying. I grant you, I was down and out of breath, and so was he. But we rose, both at an instant, and fought a long hour by Shrewsbury's clock. I'll take it upon my death. I gave him this wound in the thigh.
This is the strangest tale that I have ever heard.
This is the strangest fellow, Brother John. Come, bring your luggage nobly on your back. For my part, if I lie, may do thee grace. I'll gild it with the happiest terms I have. The trumpet sounds retreat. The day is ours. Come, brother, let us to the highest of the field to see what friends are living who are dead.
I'll follow, as they say, for reward. I'll purge and leave sack and live cleanly as a nobleman should do.
Wait, you're still here? You're still watching the play?
I can't believe Hotspur is dead, and Falstaff killed him?
Falstaff didn't kill him. Prince Henry did.
Oh yeah, and he saved his father, the king.
Well, now that the war is over, it looks like all the rebel leaders are either captured or killed.
Yeah, and it was all like Worcester's fault or something.
Wow, people will stop at nothing to gain honor and rulership. But I don't feel like we had a real sense of closure.
Well, did you know there's a part 2 to the play?
What? There's more?
Yeah, so let's see what happens in the next scene after the war. Bye, see you on the other side.
Thus ever did rebellion find rebuke, ill-spirited Worcester. Did not we send grace, pardon, in terms of love to all of you? And wouldst thou turn our offers contrary, misuse the tenor of thy kinsman's trust? 3 knights upon our party slain today, a noble earl, and many a creature else had been alive this hour if, like a Christian, thou hadst truly borne betwixt our armies true intelligence.
What I have done my safety urges me to, and I embrace his fortune patiently, since not to be avoided it falls on me.
Bear Worcester to the death, And Vernon too. Other offenders we will pause upon. How goes the field?
The noble Scot, Lord Douglas, when he saw the fortune of the day, quite turned from him. The noble Percy slain, and all his men, upon the foot of fear, fled with the rest. And falling from a hill, he was so bruised that the pursuers took him. At my tent the Douglas is, and I beseech your grace, I may dispose of him.
With all my heart.
Then, brother, John of Lancaster, to you this honorable bounty shall belong. Go to the Douglas and deliver him, upon his pleasure, ransomless and free. His valor shown upon our crest today have taught us how to cherish such high deeds, even in the bosom of our adversaries.
I thank your grace for this high courtesy, which I shall give away immediately.
Then this remains, that we divide our power. You, son John, and my cousin Westmoreland, towards York shall bend you with your dearest speed to meet Northumberland and the prelates group, who, as we hear, are busily in arms. Myself and you, son Harry, will towards Wales to fight with Glendower and the Earl of March. Rebellion in this land shall lose his sway, meeting the check of such another day. And since this business so fair is done, let us not leave till all our own be won.
You got in so late, it's Sunday morning, said that you were leaving, letting go of us. Where did we go wrong? Oh, and now you say you're leaving California, gotta head back east and wanna leave tonight. Pack your things and go. Oh, but if you run away, I won't be alright. Even if the sun crashes into us, I won't let go. I won't let go. And I can be your light. Stay with me tonight. I won't let go. I won't let go.
Go tell it on the mountain.
That reminds me of the song. Oh, my name is Nell and
Shut
up.